Welcome back to UnoRunner Video Drum Lessons for November 14th, 2008. My name's Darren Mathis. Glad you could tune in and hope you have a excellent Thanksgiving week. I'm going to try and get through as many voicemails as I can in the next few minutes. I'd like to start off with a question here for about Sambas.
Hey Darren, this is Scott Perry from Jacksonville, Florida. Just calling to let you know, I just watched your podcast for the first time and that was excellent. I couldn't have done it any better myself, and I think you did a great job, and I'm glad there's somebody out there doing this. And I just wanted to see if you had any great ideas on a couple of samba beats. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing your next podcast. Bye.
Hey Scott, thanks for the voicemail and the question about samba beats. Well, I've got 3 samba beats here that I'll show you. They're pretty basic standard samba beats to start out with, but they're pretty characteristic of samba beats in general, and I'll put these beats or grooves, whatever you want to call them. Some people call them grooves, I call them, grown up calling them beats, but I'll put a PDF file with these beats at unorunner.com. If you go to the listing for this podcast, I'll put a link for the PDF file for these 3 grooves here. So if we start out with the first one here, first of all, if you look at all these grooves are going to have a common denominator of 8th notes on the hi-hat or ride cymbal, and then this pattern on the kick drum. Okay, so that's going to be the same in all 3 beats. And now I'm going to do a rim knock. I'm going to switch the placement of that rim knock or stick knock around, and you might want to experiment with the sound of your rim knock. If you, so I'll put the bead of the stick on the head, about an inch or 2 from the rim, and then hit the shank here against the rim on the other side. And you can really experiment moving the stick around to different places to get different tones. So that's going to be my 3rd instrument here, along with the hi-hat and the kick drum. So I'll start off with this first one, which I'll show on the screen. And the second one is a variation on it. It's going to have the same hi-hat and kick drum pattern. Just going to switch around where I play the rim knock or the stick knock. And the third one goes like this. So once you get a handle on those, what you're going to want to do is a couple things. Try and speed them up as much as possible. There are different tempos in sambas. Sometimes they really get cooking. And you're also going to want to try to incorporate the open and close hi-hat with your foot while playing the ride cymbal. So I'll do those, all 3 of them through here. So let me do the same ones now, playing my right hand on the ride cymbal and try and get the hi-hat on the 2 and 4. Alright, and then what you might want to do is just try and get that pattern on autopilot and then experiment around with your own figures on the left hand. So thanks again, Scott, for the question. There's a few samba ideas for you.
Hi, this is Hayden from Ohio. I first just want to thank you for having a sweet podcast to help me out, because I just recently found it and it's been helping me out a lot. And I was just wondering, I recently got new drum heads for my 3 toms and then my snare drum. But it's kind of
I kind of have a crappy beginner kit-ish. And whenever I hit my highest tom, I noticed that the snares on the snare drum ring, and it really annoys me, and it kind of overpowers the tom, so I barely get to hear it. I wonder if you have any tips on getting rid of that, or any way to dampen that, or quiet it, or something like that. But, well, thanks for having a podcast, and for being so awesome. Bye.
Hey, thanks a lot for your question. That's a good question to have. It's pretty common with a snare buzz. Even on my kit here, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it very well, but I get quite a bit of snare buzz, but I've just gotten used to it. In fact, if I turn the snares off and I play without it, I notice that there's something missing, because I've just almost subconsciously learned that the snare, to a certain extent, that snare sound is going to be part of your kit when you hit anything, unless you've got the snares torqued so tight. But I like the snares pretty loose on mine, and I'll experiment. Right now I'm adjusting the snare tightness. This is pretty loose. So I'll adjust the snares here. I don't like my snares super tight, because then you have to hit the drum harder to get any response, but I like to get them so they just don't, so they have a, so their tightness, they just don't keep buzzing forever, but not so tight that the snare is not sensitive at all. So I want to be able to hear that snare sound even if I just barely tap the snare. So it's you have to kind of create a balance there, and you get a feel for it once you work with it more. But so depending on what note you've got your toms tuned to, it's going to cause your snare, the way they interact with the frequencies. Some drums are going to, depending on how they're tuned, are going to interact with your snare more. So you can either try tuning your snare up or down, or tuning one of your toms up or down, and it'll keep them from buzzing a little bit. That's one way. Also, you might want to check your snares. If they've gotten caught on something, maybe one of them's loose and hanging down, that could be a problem. Maybe you need to replace the set of snares. Take a look, or just clip it off with a side cutter or something like that. So those are a couple ideas, but like I said, I've just gotten used to the sound. And if you record your drums, you probably won't be able to hear the snare as much in the overall sound. It's just playing that, I couldn't really hear the snare, or the sound of the snares is a lot lower in volume than the rest of it, obviously, so it doesn't really bother me too much. But like I said, I've just kind of grown accustomed to hearing it as a part of the kit. On every drum set I've ever played, the presence of the snares is always there, unless you just really have it torqued down. The tightness of the snares, that is, really tightened up, and I don't like to do that too much. So I hope that helps a little bit. I'd like to do one more thing today, is have you take a quick sticking quiz. So go ahead and look at your screen. Right now you see a figure that is played like this: 1 and a 2, or I'm sorry, 1, 2 and 3, 4 and. So it goes 1. Okay, that's the figure that's written there. Let me ask you this: how would you stick that? I mean, which hands would you use to play which notes there? Would you play right, left, right, left, right, left? Or maybe you'd play right, right, left, right, right, left. So what is the correct way to stick that? I'll just give you a minute to think about that. Now, my answer is there's no one way to stick that. You might look in one piece of music and have you play it right, left, right, left, right, left, alternate, or it might have you playing it right, right, left, right, right, left, or you might play it all with one hand. Right, 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 or alternately with the left hand. The best thing to do is to practice it all the ways you can. It'll increase your ability to play ambidextrously, and you want to be able to play anything that you can play on your right hand on your left hand. If you vary up your sticking, it really gives you options as far as varying up a pattern. Like, for instance, you might start out playing like this. If you played it all with one hand, you could play a figure like this. So I'm just playing that all with the right hand. Well, that's it for today's podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back as soon as I can. In the meantime, if you'd like to support this podcast, you can check out unirunner.com/2006. I'm selling a collection of podcasts from 2006. I did 42 of them, almost 4 hours. It's available on either a 2 DVD set, or you can download the whole thing through that page. So all you have to do for more information is go to unirunner.com/2006. There's a list of all the podcasts that I had that year, and I appreciate if you check that out. Until next time, keep practicing, and God bless.